This might be one of the worst videos on YouTube I've ever seen in my entire life. So this YouTuber in praise of shadows, he describes himself as a horror history YouTuber, film critic type of person, and he just made a video called Bad Conservative Horror Movies. But half of the video seems to be talking about random YouTubers and also whining about his own personal cancellation that happened to him 2 years ago. In this video, he accuses Mutahar of being transphobic because of the Keffels stuff. He says that Brandon Buckingham was accused of rape using Sneeko as a valid source. He blames Wendigoon for random follower Twitter accounts calling him the F slur on Twitter, and then tries to say that because Wendigoon followed him after these random accounts were doing it, that Wendigoon knew and he was following him to flex his power dynamics on him as a big YouTuber. And no, I'm not kidding. This video gets that bad. And so let's just jump into it. Mutahar starts us off by tweeting out a clip from the video and captions it, "It's hilarious how bad faith commies are on the internet. Not ever looking into the content I've made going over case documentation about Andrew Tate and shedding light on his bad behavior, or looking past a thumbnail for damning evidence I've presented in a video." So let's just watch this clip.
He is friends with Oompaville, a gun-obsessed content creator that has taken advantage of Nakado Avocado's mental decline for fame and for money. And on top of that, has made content with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate. He is friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate being deplatformed from social media websites, and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia in his most recent video.
So if you watched that and your brain immediately shrunk in size, congratulations, you have common sense. But maybe you don't have any idea what he's talking about. He claims Mutahar's last video was transphobic, which was a total lie initiated by Keffels. When Keffels replied to Muta's announcement video saying, "Was it really necessary to use a transphobic caricature of me in the thumbnail while also not using my pronouns in the video announcement?" Referencing this art by Just a Worm, who was an artist who drew everyone in this style, including Mutahar himself. He has multiple examples of him drawing like this, so it was not transphobic at all, just Keffels was made to look ugly because it's an exposed video. That's how it goes. And also falsely accused Mutahar of using the wrong pronouns, when Keffels herself openly says that my pronouns are she, her, or they, them. And in the entire tweet, he says both of those multiple times. Her various lies, her terrible lies, she is dangerous, they represent those surrounding them. So this Keffels person is ultimately just a complete and total liar. But that lie was repeated enough that this guy now believes it, and he's also repeating it again to his audience of hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And the best part about all this is that literally earlier in the same exact video from the clip we just watched, this dude complains about a cancellation that happened to him 2 years ago where he believes he was falsely represented because of comments he made about a movie called The Hills Have Eyes, where he gave some very interesting takes about Native Americans and black people, comparing the violent cannibals in the film to black people and Native Americans and other minority groups, and saying that the family that is being attacked by these cannibals are actually representative of white America. Let me just play the clip for you yourself so you can see what he has to say.
The Hill people can be representative of anything that you want them to be, really. They can be Native Americans, and the hills themselves can be allegorical of them being forced back onto reservations. They can be Black Americans that have for hundreds of years been forced to live within a dehumanizing system that has balances in place that assure that they never get ahead. They can be anyone who has been a victim of hundreds of years of horrifically violent, white, wealthy, educated progress.
And so yeah, 2 years ago, he got a shit ton of backlash from this, and justifiably so, because this is absolutely an absurd takeaway from this film. And his comment section was flooded with criticism for it, and he got backlash on Twitter and shit. But he did respond to this in his Bad Conservative Movies video, so why don't we let him explain to us all why it's bad to do bad faith arguments based on lies. Go ahead, take it away, IPOS.
Hundreds of likes every single time by either saying lies about me, or really taking my words in completely bad faith. And every time that he does this, it hurts my reputation just a little bit more. These things do have a very real effect, because if people say things enough times, then other people will believe it. It doesn't matter if it's actually true. He was the first that I could tell to actually tweet something negative about me in the fallout from that video's release, when he said, "YouTube film essayist. The cannibals in the Hills Have Eyes are actually the good guys, because they're poor, and the family is everything wrong about America. They're middle class and one is a retired cop." Cuts to footage of January 6th storming the Capitol. Which, I hope you'll be able to see is taking my basic argument and contorting it to appear as ridiculous as possible, even though it did make sense within the context of the actual video. I mean, that video is an hour and 25 minutes. Reducing what I was trying to get across down to a single one-sentence tweet, of course, is going to make me look like an insane person. You can literally do that with anything that anyone says, but it isn't being done in the fair spirit of argument. It isn't an actual response to what I was saying. It is lashing out like a toddler. He got 370 likes with that one.
Wow, reducing your entire argument down to one sentence makes you look like an insane person? That's crazy. I can't imagine you would ever do that yourself, right? And just keep his words in mind for the rest of this video while we watch him try and attack a whole bunch of other YouTubers. This next section, we got a tweet here from this Azu person who tweets out, "This Snoopers of Shadows video is genuinely horrible. Dude spends over half an hour trying to imply that Wendigoon is a far-right fascist, and his examples are shit like this. You literally cannot make it up." Let's see this clip.
Wendigoon is publicly friends with Brandon Herrera, who has made jokes that implied that he was sympathetic with public shooters who killed leftists, and collaborated with Kyle Rittenhouse, who has posted images of himself with an MP40, which is a gun used by the Nazis.
So Wendigoon is friends with someone who did a video with someone who used a gun that was used by the Nazis. That's the level of argumentation that we're actually at. And this guy has 400,000 subscribers. Can anyone tell me why? Anyone? This is literally like you drink water and Hitler also drank water tier arguments. Like there's no substance in this at all. I can't believe this actually got past his quality control to post, especially after this whole section where he spends whining about his own cancellation and how everyone was bad faith to him and no one really understood what he was trying to say. I mean, just completely pathetic and embarrassing. And also it's just amazing how he has that typical soy lineal like look, the iDubbbz like long hair and mustache combo that just makes you turn into a complete moron. He also went after Brandon Buckingham and used Sneeko as a reliable source of information. If you don't believe me, watch this clip.
He is friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape.
And yeah, by threatening rape, he means that Brandon Buckingham got into a beef with Sneeko years ago, where Sneeko was talking shit, Brandon Buckingham was talking shit back, and Brandon basically made a long-winded, "I'm gonna steal your girl" comment when he said, "Whole gang is gonna run the train on her like she asked us to last time I was in town," referring to Sneeko's at the time girlfriend. And so yeah, you can say it's disrespectful shit talk because that's obviously what it is. They are being disrespectful to each other. But to claim this is an actual valid rape threat is absurd and ridiculous. That means anytime anyone has ever said, "I'm going to take your girl," they're actually threatening to rape them, which is such a reach, it's unbelievable. But this IPOS idiot just believed it instantly from Sneeko and ate it up and spewed it on his channel, which is unsurprising to say the least. Okay, now this one's a little bit funny to turn away from the serious tone real quick. He even tried to go after Windigoon for being anti-gay, I guess, with this tweet. It's hard, it's impossible to just watch the clip. I can't explain it.
We could talk about another time where someone made a YouTuber gay sex alignment chart and put Wendigoon as a sub bottom, to which he responded to them and said, "What did I do to hurt you?" Which, you know, clearly is a joke, but also the worst kinds of straight guys when they make jokes related to queerness, almost exclusively direct the punchline at femme gays and bottoms, because they view them as lesser than masculine tops.
I'm just amazed at how this guy can try to look so deep into anything and just come out with the worst arguments I've ever seen. The guy who made the gay sex chart was even appalled by this, saying, "I can't believe my gay sex chart was used for evil. It's one thing to go after Windigoon, but pro-bottom propaganda?" Which says, yeah, I mean, it's just a joke. It's not that deep. And he's trying to use this along with a whole bunch of other genuine arguments that he's trying to make to cancel Windigoon to say that he is anti-gay or, I guess, degrading of homosexual people, which is, I wish I had more of something to say, but it's just mind-blowing. It just turns my brain off to hear this guy's attempts at arguments. But Windigoon did end up responding to this. He left a lengthy comment in reply. And before we read that, we have to show what Windigoon is responding to, which is probably one of the worst points that this video has, where he 100% says that Windigoon is responsible for his audience, bringing up random 50-follower Twitter accounts, calling him the F-slur, acting as if this is Windigoon's fault, and then saying that when Windigoon followed him on Twitter, that was actually on purpose in order to increase the hate that he was getting against him.
And what resulted from some good faith criticism of his use of language was days upon days of people calling me a fat, amongst other things, but that was their go-to word. And to be honest, if you're a public figure who is being criticized publicly, and the only people who come to your defense are Nazis, then that can only be read as two ways. Either that you're sympathetic to their views, or that you're perfectly fine making money from them, and are comfortable with that ideology being the backbone of your base. And this did go on for like at least a week, where every single time I said anything, my mentions were just filled with the most vile far-right rhetoric from Wendigoon fans. And if anyone ever criticized me, and people's reaction to it was to immediately start using hate speech, I would shut that shit down so fast. I think that most decent people who work online would do the exact same.
So yeah, we're already off to an amazing start here by this guy. Blaming Wendigoon for, I don't know, 10 to 20 images he showed on screen of random Twitter accounts calling him the F-slur, saying that somehow Wendigoon is responsible for these people and he controls them. And yeah, I also love how he acts as if the only people who support Wendigoon are these crazed, random, like one-follower accounts. It's not like he has a fan base of millions and millions of people who watch him, but sure, buddy, the 10 to 20 people who gave you a mean Twitter reply, that's all of Wendigoon's defenders. No one else defends him. No one else believes that he's a good person. That's it, bro. You really caught him out there. And none of that even matters because regardless, even if all of those people were the ones defending him, you're not responsible for your audience. Like, plain and simple. I've always thought that was a ridiculous argument. Unless you're literally outwardly calling for it, like saying to do it, then random people deciding to do what random people will do, which is their free will decision to do, has nothing to do with Wendigoon. I feel like I don't have to say that. I think that's common sense. It gets so much worse. This next part is just unbelievable.
Right in the midst of this going on, a very funny thing happened, and that Wendigoon followed me on Twitter. I was not following him at the time. He never publicly told people to stop calling me a faggot. He never once reached out to me privately, but he did follow me, which means in my eyes that he 100% knew what was happening because I did tweet about it several times, and then followed me to let me know that he knew, and that he was watching and that he intended to do nothing to stop it. Why else would he follow me in that exact moment? He has never interacted with a single one of my posts, not one like, not one comment. We are not friends. But he does follow me. He follows next to nobody on Twitter. What other motivation could he have had there to follow me in that specific moment, other than to be a method of quiet and deniable intimidation? What other way could that have been read from my perspective?
This guy is lost. This man is lost. He's making the most absurd speculations I've ever seen in my entire life. Wendigoon followed me, and the only motivation he could ever have to follow me on Twitter is because he wanted me to feel bad. He wanted me to see that he knew everything that was happening to me. He saw all the little mean one-follower accounts, the 10 to 20 of them, calling me the F-slur, and he followed me to endorse it and to intimidate me into silence because he's a big creator. It sounds like something out of a parody. I mean, there's no way this guy really believes this. This is humiliating. Yeah, but anyway, unfortunately, I had to show you guys that horrible brain rot because Wendigoon's comment directly mentions it. So let's read Wendigoon's reply, which he left on the video that we just watched, where he says, "Please, no one harass or comment rude things on my behalf. I do not agree with or condone meanness in any way. If you're here to leave a spiteful remark on my behalf, don't. Nothing good comes from anger. I want to apologize for people saying awful things to you on Twitter. I did not know this was happening and don't stand by that behavior. I followed you because I saw your Slenderman video and enjoyed it, then saw you in my recommended follows. It sounds like you strongly dislike me, and that's okay. But if I have done anything to cause that, I apologize. If I have ever spoken against you without cause or made any joke at your expense, I am sorry. I did not follow you to harass you, but if that contributed in any way, I wish I could take it back. You don't have to like me, but I hope you do not feel I have ill will against you. There's a lot you assumed incorrectly about me, but that's to be expected. I try to keep my life private in what ways I can, and my friends mentioned in the video can take up for themselves. I will only point out that your assertion about Brandon Buckingham is particularly egregious because the lie regarding a threat was made up by Sneeko when Brandon called him out on his behavior. I know you wouldn't support an internet figure like Sneeko, but you inadvertently did by not checking the source. I've made similar mistakes. Most YouTubers have at one point or the other, but harmful allegations spread when people parrot rather than decipher data. I have said things in the past that I do not agree with now, and am learning to better myself daily, and each day find myself more in the wrong. I am sorry for the things I've said to bring hurt or strife onto any person or people. May God forgive me. I hope you're successful. The Slenderman video was great, and I hope you don't find myself or my audience impeding your career. And again, if you're here to leave a mean comment for me, don't be." Which is absolutely just an amazing comment from Wendigoon. I mean, handled it absolutely perfectly. A lot of people glaze Wendigoon and his responses to like dramas and stuff, but I think honestly it's justified. He's been in a lot of shit for basically no reason at all. And it's all shit that would easily lead you to have some sort of meltdown or say something publicly that you don't mean or like act out of line and lash out. But bro has never lashed out. He's been completely reasonable every time he's ever responded. And I'm honest, if he fucks up, I'll call him out if he makes some sort of response that's like inappropriate or wrong. I would not be afraid to say that, but he just never has. It's always been completely respectful. So it's just shocking to see this idiot IPOS try to go after him totally unjustly and using very clearly not researched talking points to make insane arguments about Wendigoon. So yeah, this is just one of the worst videos I've ever seen. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know I've gotten fiery in this video, but it's impossible to control it. I mean, this person is delusional. He doesn't live in base reality. He doesn't live in the same world that you and I live in or that these YouTubers live in. He is completely just unable to comprehend anything normally. So anyway, if you guys like the video, subscribe. Daily videos still going hard, going strong. I appreciate all the support on my last 4 videos. You guys have been amazing. Thanks for all the subscribers. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.